There is a saltwater spinning reel behind glass at the tackle shop for $200. And the thing you are paying for is the ceiling. And there is a reel that hung on a peg at Walmart for $40 with 13 internal seals in it. 13. That is not a cheaper version of the $200 reel. On the one specification that reel is sold on, it is the same answer for a fifth of the money. And right now, if you pull that $40 reel up on Walmart's own website, it says out of stock. No restock date. Meanwhile, it is sitting on eBay, being sold by people who are not Walmart, to people who already worked out what I am about to tell you. That is what an item on its way out looks like from outside the building. And there are more of them on a peg near you this month, because September is when the fishing aisle gets cut back. There are 4 signals that tell you whether something is genuinely going away or just briefly cheap. I checked all 4. I am going to show you them first, because they are worth more than any list. And then I am going to show you the 7 things on that aisle worth checking right now. One thing I owe you before we start, and it takes 10 seconds. Walmart does not publish a list of what it is discontinuing. There is no press release. Anybody who says they have that list is making it up, and I am not going to be that person. What I have is what I checked, and I will tell you exactly what I found and what I could not confirm. Signal 1. Out of stock online with no restock date, while stores still have units physically on a shelf. That gap is the whole thing. Corporate has stopped buying it. The stores are selling down what is left. Signal 2. A yellow sticker, not a red one. This matters more than it used to. Yellow still means clearance at Walmart, but red now marks both rollbacks and clearance. So a red tag no longer tells you anything on its own. It used to. It does not anymore. Signal 3. It has started showing up on eBay at or above what the shelf price was. Resellers move before shoppers do. When people are buying something at Walmart specifically to flip it, they know something you do not. And Signal 4, which is the one that actually settles it. A rollback bounces back. Rollbacks run 4 to 10 weeks, and then the price goes back up. Clearance never goes back up. So if you saw a price drop 6 weeks ago, and it is still down today, that was not a sale. That was an exit. Everything I am about to name is store by store. I know somebody is going to tell me his Walmart has none of it, and he will be right, because that is how clearance works. Counting down from 7. Number 7. Fishing line. Specifically, Berkley Trilene Big Game. As of September 2026, it runs somewhere around $18 or $19 for a 330-yard spool, and that is the normal price. Not the deal. One of you commented that he has bought that same spool for as low as $8 on clearance. That is well under half. And here is why line is always first to go in a fall reset. It is bulky, it takes shelf space, and the margin on it is thin. When the fishing section shrinks to make room for hunting and holiday stock, line is what gets cut first. It is also the one thing on this list that does not care how long it sat there. Mono does not go bad on a shelf in a season, and Berkley has been making fishing tackle since 1937, so this is not an unknown quantity. Big Game is not a finesse line, and it was never meant to be. It is a thick, tough, abrasion-resistant monofilament, and its entire reason for existing is surviving contact with rock and dock piling and stump. If you fish around structure, that is the line. And it is the single cheapest thing you can put between yourself and losing a good fish, which is exactly why it is worth stacking up when it goes to $8. Before we go on, there is something the tackle counter never tells you, and most fishermen only find out after they have already paid for it. One number, 350. That is the gap between 2 coolers that hold the very same ice. Your father knew what he was buying. Nobody had to tell him. The difference was never money. It was knowing. 12 chapters of that knowing in one book. Rods, reels, line, coolers. What the logo actually cost you, and where the money is real. The logo tax. Link below. Back to it. Number 6. The cheap Shakespeare combos. The Durango and the Alpha. I want to be careful here, because these are not discontinued. They are the ones that get marked down, and the model codes get swapped every couple of seasons, so the exact one on your shelf right now probably will not be on it next spring. And I am putting them on this list because of 2 comments. One man told me he bought a $35 Shakespeare Alpha for his son 20 years ago, that it became his go-to, that it caught more fish than any of his name rods, and that it is still in his arsenal. Another said a $10 Shakespeare Durango caught him plenty of fish. That is a 20-year service record on a $35 combo. If you see one of these under $25 with a yellow sticker on it, that is not a compromise. That is a spare rod in the truck for the rest of your life. Number 5. The Ozark Trail. OTX rod. House brand rods are the most volatile thing in the entire department because Walmart owns the brand and changes the model codes whenever it wants. When an OTX code goes away, it does not come back. A similar rod comes back with different letters on it, and the one you liked is gone. A viewer told me he runs an OTX paired with a Pishafun 2000 and called it a true workhorse, and that he pulled 3 bass over 6 pounds on it in a single month. 6-pound bass on a house brand rod. The fair caveat is that house brand rods are inconsistent between production runs, so flex the one in your hand before you buy it, rather than trusting the model number. Number 4. Coolers. And this one is the most genuinely seasonal item on the list. This is the real September story, and it has nothing to do with fishing specifically. Summer stock has to leave to make room for fall. Coolers are big, they take enormous shelf space, and no store wants them sitting there in November. So they go, and they go hard. One of you bought a Coleman 316 with the pull behind handle for $15 on clearance at Walmart. 15. That is a cooler that will outlive most of the people reading this, for the price of lunch. The fair caveat, and it is worth saying, a cheap cooler is not a bad cooler, but it is not a premium one either. It will hold ice for a long weekend, not for a week. If you know that going in, you will never be disappointed. Number 3. The Zebco 33 and the 202. This is probably the most owned fishing reel in the history of this country. Almost everybody watching this learned on one, or taught somebody on one. And it is a permanent fixture of the end of season markdown, every year, without fail. Nobody is going to tell you a Zebco 33 is a precision instrument. It is not. What it is the reel you hand a 7-year-old, or keep in the boat as the spare that nobody can break. The closed face design is the reason. There is no bail to flip, no loop of line to fall off a spool, and almost nothing a child can do wrong with it except reel the wrong way. That is not a compromise for a beginner. That is the correct tool. And the 33 has been in production for more than 70 years, which means parts and knowledge for it are everywhere. At end of season clearance pricing, having 2 of them on the shelf in your garage is just sensible. Number 2. The ugly Stick GX. 2. I am putting this at number 2 specifically to make a distinction that will save you money. The ugly stick is named in our comments more than any other product on earth. Somebody wrote in that he still has the ugly sticks he bought in the 90s for $25. And what you are actually buying is a specific piece of engineering. The GX2 is graphite wrapped in fiberglass with that translucent clear tip at the end. And the clear tip is not decoration. Fiberglass bends much further before it breaks than graphite does. So when somebody lifts a fish straight up at the boat, which is the single most common way a rod dies, this one just keeps bending. It also carries a 7-year written warranty, which tells you what the company itself expects it to survive. And it is almost never discontinued. It is frequently marked down. Those are different things, and knowing which one you are looking at is the entire skill. If the ugly stick in front of you has a red tag, wait. Red is a rollback as often as not, and rollbacks come back around. If it has a yellow sticker and the shelf beside it is thinning out, that is your store dropping that specific model and length, and that one does not come back. And number 1, the Ozark Trail. OTSR sealed saltwater reel. Here is what this reel is. 13 internal seals against corrosion. 3 ball bearings plus an anti-reverse. It came in a 4,000, a 5,000, and an 8,000. Walmart house brand. Sold for around $40. And let me explain why 13 seals is the number that made me stop. Salt does not destroy a reel by splashing on the outside. It destroys it by getting inside, drying, and sitting against the gears and the bearings as crystal. Every seal is a place where that path is closed. Cheap saltwater reels typically have 2 or 3 of them in the obvious places, and that is why they last a season and a half. 13 is the count you find when somebody actually sat down and mapped every route water can take into a reel body, and closing all of them costs real money on a $40 product. And here's what I found when I went looking. The 5,000 shows as out of stock on Walmart's own site with no restock, and it is being sold on eBay right now by third-party sellers. That is Signal 1 and Signal 3 at the same time on the same product. I want to be precise about my words. I am not telling you Walmart canceled this reel, because Walmart has not said that to anybody. I am telling you it is out of stock, and it has not been restocked, and that resellers are moving it, and that is what the end looks like from outside the building. Now here is why I care, and why I put it first. A viewer of this channel wrote in about this exact reel. He bought 5 of them. He said he beat them to death. He dropped one in the sand, and he dunked one in salt water while he was wading in the surf, and it kept working. 5 purchases from one man is not a review. That is a verdict. 13 seals for $40 is a specification that should not exist at that price, and that is very likely exactly why it is not being made anymore. Somebody in a meeting worked out what it costs to build. So if you walk past a peg with one still hanging on it, that is not a discount. That is the last one. Let me leave you with the part that keeps working after this video is old. Now, the price code, because this is where I am going to disagree with almost every video you have seen on this. You have been told that a price ending in 97 means clearance. It does not. 97 shows up on regular prices and on markdowns alike, and it means nothing on its own. You have also been told that a price ending in a 1 is the final markdown, and it will not go lower. That is also wrong. Clearance can always drop again. I am not saying people made those up to lie to you. I am saying the codes are inconsistent from store to store, and the digital shelf labels removed the printed date that people use to read them with. That last part matters more than people realize. The paper labels used to carry a printed date, and that date was how anybody read the cycle at all. In a lot of stores, the digital labels replaced the paper, and the date went with it. So the trick your buddy taught you 5 years ago genuinely does not work anymore, and it is not because you're doing it wrong. 2 things do hold up everywhere: the yellow sticker and the calendar. Most Walmart stores mark clearance down about once a month, usually in the first half of the month. That is the single most useful sentence in this video. If you walked the fishing aisle on the 28th, walk it again on the 4th. So here's the whole thing in 4 sentences. Walk the fishing aisle in the first half of the month, not the last, because that is when the markdowns are actually loaded. Look for yellow and treat red as meaningless until you have checked whether it is still down in 6 weeks. Ignore the price endings completely and photograph the tag before you walk away from anything you are unsure about. That last one is the whole game. If you can live without the thing for a month, take the picture and come back. Same number or lower, buy it. Higher, you just learned it was a rollback, and rollbacks always come around again. That single habit will save you more than every price ending trick ever printed. And when you find something with a yellow sticker that you have wanted anyway, check the same item on eBay before you leave the parking lot. If strangers are already paying more than the shelf price to get it, you are not buying a bargain. You are buying the last of something. That is the difference between a sale and an ending. One of them comes back around next spring. The other one does not.